Hey everybody, welcome to episode 164 of the Bonehead podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. And jingle. Welcome back, I'm Ben, and once again I'm joined by Bloodtithe Ben. How you doing, BT?
Hello, doing very, very well, thank you.
Although I say Bloodtithe, this is a very Brush-tithe centered episode.
That's true.
So this is Ben's super secret alter ego. Think Clark Kent with the glasses and with a slightly different pair of glasses.
And a logo and tries to advertise and yeah.
It's like Tony Stark going incognito. No, we're not joined by Trips today. We're not joined by Milton today. I've grabbed Ben because Ben did something very cool recently. And while there's a couple of bits of Blood Bowl world we want to touch on before we delve into it deeply, but Ben did something very, very, very cool. And I just thought it'd be a really cool opportunity to talk through it. So Ben, what did you do?
So yeah, I attended my first ever painting competition, which is something. It was on my bucket list. I think I might have mentioned I think we had our New Year's resolutions episode or something like that. I think for my one for this year it was enter a painting competition. You know, not to try and win anything, just put something forward and enter it. And I did it. Quite a last minute decision, but we
I was gonna say
we entered.
You creamed through it very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, quite stressful. But I entered Iron Skull. The one ran by Siege Studios, which helped because I could work it and get paid to enter it, which is quite a nice thing to do. But yeah, no, it was a really good experience, and yeah, we'll touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, I follow Ninjon and the hipster one, who complains about things a lot, Miniac, and like they,
Me?
you know, no, the American you, and they're
Honestly, quite true.
There is a similarity there in appearance. I think
he used to be a software engineer as well. Yeah, but I think we're quite similar.
You need the hat. You need the hat bag.
Like a beanie. Yeah.
Actually, I did browse through some of our older podcasts, and there was one where
that one. It was when I had a really bad haircut and I didn't know what to do and I couldn't fix it, so the beanie went on. It was a terrible idea.
That was wicked. Yeah, but they talk about like competitions and stuff like that, and you know, you say entered the first competition. Obviously, every Blood Bowl tournament tends to have like a enter your team, and there's like it's normally fan favorite, like the fans vote for it, right? So I know you've been through a lot of that to show off your painting, but having something specifically to enter specifically for competition, like they've always talked about it, and it's always felt like a completely different world. So very interesting conversation. Right, we've got a couple of bits to talk about as well, just to touch base on, but we are going to quickly do the audio check. Okay, so a couple of bits of Blood Bowl news kicking around before we delve into it. There was a Kickstarter for Grebo that was live, but they only did it for a week, so it's now finished, which was the Unrenaissance team. I've been very impressed with it. Not sure if you got a chance. I think they turned up. Actually, they did turn up day 2 of the campaign, so I think that was the Tuesday, and I didn't get a chance to show you on the Monday night. Very cool sculpts, very high production quality. There's another Kickstarter coming up from Punga this week. I think Rim said maybe Thursday, which is 5 Skaven teams. 3 of the ones they've already got, and 2 more. They've got like an underground mining team, which is a little bit similar to what they've done before. And then they've got essentially like a cafe team for Skaven, which is wicked.
Yeah, I can see that working really well, actually.
I think they've done some stuff like that for they've got for Warhammer Fantasy Battle and stuff. They've got stuff they've done before, so I think it's probably asset sharing and stuff like that. But they put together 2 very cool Blood Bowl teams for that. So I got the old sewer pitch out and took some photos of that yesterday because I got some of the STLs. So we've done a review on that, which will come out when the Kickstarter goes live. That is very cool, and they're also doing them all with weapons as well. So. That's just mad. Like 5 Skaven teams. I'm not sure on the pricing. I'm not sure on the tiering. But they had me a Punga Skaven team. Like I knew I was going to love it, and both teams are very cool.
Resins as well. Are they not STL Kickstarter? Is it the Resin Team Kickstarter?
I think it's definitely an STL. I think they're also doing physical as well. But
Okay.
I mean, I think that's the best way to do stuff these days when it comes to Kickstarters. Is if you've got the possibility to do stuff to do your models as an STL as well. I just think it's, yeah, I don't know. We'll probably talk about that at a different time because there's some cool stuff going on. And the other one that's kicking around is Kraken Studios, who do all the stadiums. They've got an accessories thing going on. They shipped us over some STLs last night, so we'll get some printed and have a look because we've started building the stadium for the third and hopefully final time. So we're going to get to have some of those accessories to add to it, like entrance gates and crowd and bodyguards and stuff. It's some really good stuff. Some really good stuff. I'm not going to lie, it like the wargamer and like RPG player of me is like, this is wicked. Like, this is great for skirmish. And like, if I was playing a D&D campaign, I'd be like, I just binge these for terrain and for like NPCs. But
Yeah, like a sports pitch is an awesome setting for some kind of RPGs.
well, no, but they're doing everything but the sports pitch because they've done like four pitches.
Everything but, sorry.
So they've got like medic tents, they've got like loads of stuff. It's a really interesting little Kickstarter, so we'll be doing a review on that as well. But yeah, some good stuff coming out in the Blood Bowl world at the moment. If you want to see better reviews of that, then come and jump onto the YouTube because we'll have stuff to show off. And the other bit we want to touch briefly on is Rick showed me something that came up on Facebook earlier this week, which is from another podcast that has just like a load of interesting rumor stuff for Blood Bowl. We're not going to touch on it too much today. We may go back and look at it when we've got Trips on board, but only if the kind of source material is a little bit more, like there's just a little bit more to it. At the moment, it's just somebody who has just shared a bunch of stuff. I'm a big UFO nut. And this is just somebody like writing some stuff down. It's not even a witness. It's not like even like, hey, we captured and interviewed somebody who works for Games Workshop, and this is their interview.
The potato cam photo.
Yeah,
of the,
there's not even potato cam.
Yeah.
Like, this is just literally somebody going, some bloke, my uncle at Nintendo has said these things. There is one thing that came out of it that I do like the idea of, which is that September is when there is a new edition scheduled. That part of the rumor I really hope is true. But I mean, Ben and I, you had a little chat before. We're like, well, we've been hearing rumors of a new edition for 3 years. So it's kind of like, I'm at the point where I mean, do you remember this in 2020? It got to like August time, October time, and there was like actual pictures leaked of the new edition. And in Games Workshop world, if there was a new edition coming, I don't know, like we saw how the heresy stuff went, which was a case of like literally somebody just chucked a couple of the boxes into this car and just drove off with it. That is the kind of leak I will absolutely jump on board with. But yeah, let me know if you do want us to go into depth in those rumors. It's just, there's nothing in there that we've not already talked about, and that particularly surprises me, because it's all, I mean, one of the things mentioned there is that Wildly Inaccurate's going, and I'm like, well, I think we did a top 5 on things that need to be addressed in this edition, and Wildly Accurate was like -12 because it's the most obvious thing to change.
I think it said about like axing teams, and I'm just like, but why? It's just there's a lot of things that just don't really seem to make sense to me in the GW land.
Maybe we will pick this up in the future and just be like, go through the list and be like, can we see Games Workshop doing this? Because there's a couple on there I'm like, the axing teams one, literally, and it being the first point is why I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, none of this makes me think, oh my goodness, this could be real. This makes me think, but the last 2 editions for the teams they haven't produced, they've just put a PDF out for them, and I don't see why they would stop that now. Like, let alone, like, I can see them totally, and Ben, I don't think you're going to argue with me on this point. I can see them like going back, and I mean, we talked about it as well, like the old plastics, they need some love. Like, I could totally see them like redoing the box teams, and as part of redoing the box
human team would be great,
right? Yes, without 4 blitzers in exactly the same pose. I could, and at that point, like, maybe they would change a couple of things. Like when they did Norse, they added a beer ball. Like I can see them doing stuff like that because they've done it recently, and I think they've done it really, really, really well. Like Amazons, Norse, Vampire, Chaos Dwarfs. We don't talk quite so loudly about Chaos Dwarfs, but what they've done is when they've got those teams, they've made really, really good models and had a bit of fun with making the team a little bit more interesting. So if they ever go back and redo any of the teams, yeah, I can totally see them taking that opportunity to tweak things. And I know that people are like, well, Games Workshop wants to change things to upset the third party market. And I love a good conspiracy, but I just, you know, what's that meme where the bloke is like, I don't think about you at all.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'm like, I feel like actually Games Workshop is probably like, I don't. You do what you like. Like you're either going to buy from us or you're yeah. But yeah, don't know. Anyway, so
I think it's been a good thing. The third party market, I think, has just boosted Blood Bowl's popularity. So I don't think they really care about it much. I think we had a chat about that on the stream actually, like a while back. But yeah, it was just how like I feel like you've just now got a bigger market base because more people can get into it, and we've seen from the success of other teams like Snotlings and Gnomes and
Gnomes
stuff,
was
just
massive.
Like they sold crazy. Like they did really well out of it. So yeah. I'm sure it's been fun.
But yeah, so that is the bits and bobs going on in the Blood Bowl news. But for now, we're going to jump in and talk about this thing called Iron Skull. Because Ben, I'd not actually heard of Iron Skull in any way, shape, or form. So if you could give us a rundown of it.
It's kind of new. It's like they basically, I think it's in 2020 they did the first one, and it's C Studios, who, if you aren't aware, they're a
Good
company. Yeah, they're a company based in Essex in the UK who are basically a company for commission painting. So they're quite big in like the Warhammer space, and essentially it's just they have just a lot of freelance artists and do a lot of commissions, right? And some of these are very, very high level. Some of these artists are Golden Demon winners and, you know, multiple award-winning painters who will do like a commission to a certain level for them. And I do work for them. I work in the Warrior Workshop team, which is like the big mass army painting, airbrush, quick, do stuff quick. So that's what I do. So anyway, they run a tournament because I think part of it came from a need for it in the UK at the time, because Golden Demon was sort of jumping around to like we're doing it in the USA, we're doing it in Germany, and it was just to have a reliable one each year. But then this was in 2020, and the wildest thing happened, and it made it a bit tricky for them to do. So I think they did one in 2020. I think they did another one in 2023, which was like virtual. So they kind of did like an online one, I think. That might have been the 2021. I can't remember. But then they brought it back for 2025, and they did a really good job. They booked out a location in Essex, and then they got 4 very, very prestigious judges to judge the competition, and it was huge. I can't remember how many people entered. People who attended, it was like 800 or something like that. Most of them, I think, were participants.
Was there other stuff going on at the same time, or was there any tournaments or anything?
They had a few vendors, and they had War Boot, which is basically like a car boot sale for wargaming stuff, which is always really popular. So there was a lot of like really cool stuff there. Yeah, you'd have loved it. There was some very retro things there. Yeah, very dangerous thing to browse. And yeah, but most of it was this dedicated competition, which is structured very similar to Golden Demon. I think the prize structure is very similar.
And yeah,
to go through the process of it, you have 12 categories of this competition, and you can choose which one to enter, and you can enter as many as you like. And I think you can enter multiple models in the same category too. And
wow, that's
yeah, I think so. You might be different category. I don't know. I can't remember on that one. But then basically you just enter it. It goes in a cabinet. There's loads of cabinets, and you can browse it around. You can have a look at all the models, and it's very, very cool to see. And then the 4 judges will take a look at every single model in depth, and then assign they would basically choose the finalists. It's very confusing. The first round of judging is to determine a finalist. And I think Golden Demon's to blame for this. But if you then get finalist, you can then qualify for commended within that category. So commended can be bronze, silver, gold. I don't think there's a number of limit to each one. It's just a vibes thing of the judges deem this to be a bronze worthy award, silver worthy award, gold worthy award. If you get a gold, you then go to like, you get put on the top shelf, and then out of the people who got gold, you can get bronze, silver, gold trophy in that category. And then there's an overall best in show winner. Out of all of the categories, best entry. I shouldn't say model because some of them are dioramas and things. And
they've done a Jurassic Park Jeep.
This one was amazing.
Oh.
I couldn't believe it. It looked like a photo. Like in real life, it was unbelievable.
Sorry, I got distracted immediately. Well, this is really cool because I tell you what I really like about this already is that it's not all Games Workshop. They even got a historical, which is I think this is really clever because, like, as a muggle in the painting world, but someone who's quite well entrenched in the wargaming world, I know about Golden Demon, and that's about it. So having something like that is a strong brand, everyone knows about Siege Studios, and having them do like a painting competition that's quite prestigious, I think is a really cool one, especially when you're incorporating stuff that isn't just Games Workshop. Like, even though this guy, looks like he's the Empire. But I mean, this is very, very, very cool. Like, it's very, very cool to see.
There's quite a few now. So there was a big one. There's a big one in Bristol called the Miniature Painting Open, which was also recently. That was just about a month ago. And there was also a Duncan Rhodes did one. I think this one got a Golden Demon, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Duncan, he did do one at UKGE, didn't he?
At UKGE, yeah. There's also, I think, Fen Model Show, which is run by Martin Collier, who I think did the previous model you just looked at.
He did,
he did the grot. Yeah, he did. I think the grot coming out of the. Was that him? No, that was James Harrow.
This one.
Never mind.
Oh, he did this one.
He did that one. Okay, so yeah, he runs one which is really big. I think that's in July actually, and there's a whole bunch around Europe as well. Like I think there's some really good ones in Italy and Spain and things, and you get some world class painters going there. But you get world class painters here. There are some international ones. The guy who won Best in Show, I think he's Danish. I think. You'd like this one was outstanding.
This is the small scale category, so I'm like straight there.
You're looking at this, you're like, why didn't this win when you look at what got gold, which was the squad of tiny guys?
Yeah.
I need to stress how small these are. They're about 1 millimeter. Like, I'm not even kidding. They are in the cabinet, they had to have a photo behind them because you couldn't see this. This is the epic scale stuff.
So is this not 8 mil then?
Tiny.
Like, are these not Legions Imperialis though?
It's Legions Imperialis, yeah. Is that 8 mil?
Yes, 8 mil. Well, 6 mil, but Space Marines are 8 mil tall.
Yeah, they are ridiculously small. So to get the scale of...
I mean, to be fair, like, if you check out the gold in small scale, the edge highlighting and the gradient and stuff, and then you look at the bronze, like, there is a massive disparity. Now, don't get me wrong, the bronze is fantastic, but that gold is just, like, that could be 28 mil.
Yeah, if you painted a Space Marine like this, like an actual one, it would be very, very, very good.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, man, this is really cool. So what was it about it that made you think, I'm in. I want to do this.
Okay, so yeah, part of it was just that I wanted to, because I wanted the experience of painting for competition, because you have to really push yourself. And I've been painting a lot, as everyone knows, for commission for 2 years now. And
it's really been 2 years.
Since I started Bloodtithe, thereabouts. It was around September, so nearly coming up to 2 years.
That's fantastic.
And yeah, so I've kind of been, because when you do it for money, you kind of need to be quick. You need to know what corners you can kind of cut in the nicest way. You need to, you can't just spend hours and hours on one model.
Yeah, it's about optimization. It is a work process, so it needs to be optimized.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of that. That's my career.
Yes, exactly. And also with the stuff I've been doing with Siege, it's very much like large scale, quick, like get it done, get it looking good for a tabletop. So I really wanted to push myself, see what I was capable of, because I wanted to know that I could paint. I wanted to get some good feedback on it to see where I can improve and just try something else, like push. But it was really about like jumping into the deep end almost. So you need to try the harder difficulties to know that you can to get better. Basically, you're never going to improve doing the same thing again and again and again and again. Really. So yeah, it was new techniques, new experiences. That's why I wanted to do it. It did help that I said earlier, like I did work the thing, so I did. I didn't have to pay to get in, so and I got some money out of it. But like that helped. But it did mean I also entered the staff category because I'm staff. I had to enter category 12, which is staff.
Yes.
There have been mixed opinions on whether staff is harder or easier. I would say it's probably easier because there were about, I think, 25 entries into the staff category. And considering we were all bound, it had to be no taller than 54 millimeter, the model. But you weren't up against.
I was going to say, like, everybody is a higher standard, but it is only the staff. But it's only the staff that can enter. So it's like exactly. lower ceiling, higher floor, I guess.
Yeah, like just because they don't do it for a living doesn't mean they're not better. Like, some of these, a lot of these people here are, to be fair, the people who entered the staff category have won competitions before. I think the guy who got silver won or placed in Miniature Painting Open in Bristol with the same model. So these are like competition winners, right? So it's not like it's easier in that regard, but yeah, it's a smaller category. Yeah. But yeah, it was that's what I entered. And I did enter not expecting anything. Oh, sorry. What?
I was going to say, should we bring up your entry?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. I started it. Yeah. So I wanted to enter something Blood Bowl, and I had this model that I got at the World Cup, sculpted by Green Stuff World. I reached out to them. They haven't replied. I don't know who sculpted this. I want to know the artist because I want to thank them and credit them. But
they're in prison. Because of IP theft. Games Workshop got them.
Well, yeah, that was actually a rule of the competition. You can enter anything that like has IP theft, and I thought this might be towing the line a bit, and then the judges said we don't care. So yeah, that's fine. And but yeah, I wanted to do something Blood Bowl, and I had this model, and I thought it was really fun. It's really cool. It fits the brief. It's 52 millimeters tall, not 54, so it's under the category. And
including the fancy base. Including
no, so basing isn't included. Yeah, it's just from
I would absolutely rip the hell out of that. I would just 3D print something this big and just be like, here's your 54 mil. Like
one of the guys in the staff category entered a Palpatine on a throne, but then the backdrop was like the big like this like window, and he had like freehanded an intergalactic battle on the back of it as a backdrop.
No. He should have used AI to generate that image. If you're going to put a backdrop in a photo in a painting competition, it has to be AI generated. That's a thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was banned. That was a rule. It can't be used anywhere in your entry.
Good enough for Golden Demon.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to enter this, and I spent about. I need to check when I was streaming it because I know I took about 5 days out to paint it properly, but I think I was working on it for about 2 weeks up to the competition because I left it to last minute because it's me. And I probably put about
because
50
you're
hours
normal,
in.
Ben.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and yeah, I wanted to employ some techniques I feel like I'm good at. So the skin on the goblin, not the squig, well, kind of the squig, but the goblin mainly is all airbrushed. I did some minor brushing on his face just to get the shadows deepened. But where you see green, that's all airbrush. I barely touched it with a brush, which I'm really proud of, by the way.
That's amazing. Especially this bit here. Did you card it? The knee?
No. That was just eyeballing it. I just really tried.
Well done.
I wanted to, again, level up skills, right? And
airbrush question. Did you use what nozzle for this? Did you change nozzles or did you just stick with?
No. Same one, 0.35.
Yeah, you use 3.5, don't you?
Yeah.
That's very impressive. For those of you listening on audio, do jump onto the YouTube one and have a look at this. Yeah. But Ben's painted a goblin referee riding around on a big red squig. The squig's got a big yellow whistle, which is a nice color splash. He's got Pokemon cards coming out of his pocket along with money, which is excellent. That is very cool. Pokemon cards, that's wicked.
That was I put so much time into freehanding a Pokemon card. That's 3 millimeters tall, by the way. I spent a lot of time freehanding this, and I kind of messed up because it's at the back, and when it's in a cabinet, people can't see that. So I was thinking, just like, I wanted to have a feature that people would look at and maybe think, oh, I remember that was the one with the Pokemon card, because they might find it funny and it might stick in their head. Like, it works for the judges, because the judges see everything. But thinking of, have you seen that Patrick Stewart thing where he's like,
yes,
I think it was in Extras.
It's from Extras, yeah. I love it. I saw everything. Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to add that little feature, which was fun. But yeah, so I spent time entering this, and then you just rock up, stick in a cabinet, and wait. And yeah.
How quickly on the day did you have to? Because I feel like you were messaging us and letting us know what was going on. But I think, like you said,
8 in the morning.
They take that final cut. Was it that early?
Yeah. So they got the finalists for staff first because we were all there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they could look at them before people were really showing up.
Yeah.
So they determined that. So I knew by 8:30 in the morning that I was finalist, which was amazing because, again, it's hard when you're painting your own thing to know if it's good enough, because while you're painting, you're only ever improving flaws. You're deliberately looking for what needs to be done next. And it's really hard to know when to stop to think like, that's good. And it's also hard to know what isn't good enough, because if it wasn't good enough, you'd have done it.
Yeah.
It's hard to know that this needs to improve, and that's why the feedback at the end is so important. I'll touch on that. But yeah, so it's really challenging, so, especially from the photos, because my photography isn't really that good. I haven't got a good camera yet. But when you look at it, it's like it's okay. I think it's good. I think it's really. I'm not going to be delusional. Very good model.
It's really
I'm not
good.
Say that. But it's when I was entering, I was thinking just like, it'll do. It's a competition. There's going to be better things. It'll do. And then you stick it in, and then when you see stuff in person, I think it can be quite reassuring. And I would very much encourage people to go to like Warhammer World for this, or even other events, and just look at stuff, because when you see things in photos, it's not real. It's not true. There's a lot of magic that photography does to things. It blends stuff. It smooths things. It does, all sorts of rendering to it. And especially if you then incorporate photo editing, increasing saturation and stuff, which this has, by the way. This has editing on it. And you have all sorts of things that go on. But when you see things in the flesh in real life, it looks real and human. And you can see where people have done brushstrokes and where things have been applied. And that's what makes the winners, because on the models where you can either see the impressive techniques, or more importantly, not see them and just see true seamless color blending and things like that, and placement of light, that's where it really shines. And I will say, in the category, the one that caught my eye the most was the dwarf who won silver, who I think you scrolled past. It's like a Chaos Dwarf mage, Flamesmith, I think.
Yes, let's have a look.
It's right at the bottom. Yeah, there we go. So this one in person, I think, looked flawless. And you can kind of see it from the camera. But the OSL and stuff like that, it was just like, when I was looking at, if I saw this model and then saw the photo of my model, I'd be like, no chance. And that's why I really want a photo like this of mine, because I'm wondering if it has the same effect. Because when you look at it in person, you kind of think just like, well, actually, you can kind of see, you can see the color, you can see where the brush has been put.
You can see where they've painted,
and that's see where it's been painted. Yeah.
So as a painting muggle, like my whole thing about painting is painting it as quickly as possible. I've only ever really tried to paint well like twice, and once was when I was doing the Windsor Chalk Giant. I tried to do the skin. I actually tried to paint skin instead of just using agrax, and it was really enlightening. And you've said there, like, go to Warhammer World, look at the cabinets and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff that you look at that's like really good, you can see it's painted. Like, it's a ridiculous thing to say, but you can see it painted. If you watch like any of Squigmar's videos, like, their stuff looks amazing, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, it's just kind of like dark green, and then they've painted medium green, and then they've painted. But it's about that the cheerleader effect, if you're a How I Met Your Mother fan. So I know exactly what you're talking about. This is I mean, Ben, I can see like the little brush bits here on the white of like the top of the flames.
Yeah. It's,
Look at that blend on the non-metallic
I know.
metal with OSL mixed in. That is just showboating.
And you have to understand, this guy is small. He's a
is-
dwarf. He's
Oh,
tiny.
I thought you meant the painter.
No,
Simon
I think
Simon
it's
Jones.
big.
That is
Yeah. Simon's brushwork on
outrageous.
Instagram.
I've just got
lovely
ChatGPT to
gentleman.
edit your goblin photo, by the way, so I'll chuck that up in a minute. So Ben, how did you do? You were a finalist. Did you make it to the top three?
Yes. I narrowly didn't, actually. So I ended up getting gold commended. So it did very well. It was among these three in the top 4. So it was the one that didn't get a trophy, which was, in a way,
Best of the
I'm not
rest.
going to be ungrateful. I'm super, super happy. But coming that close and then being just like, no trophy was heartbreaking.
I mean-
in a way, getting silver would have like just, okay, it's fine. You can breathe now. But when they're doing the announcement at the end, you're just like, oh my God, there's a chance. Am I going to have to go up?
Oh, it's the worst.
All right. Yeah.
But how does that actually make you feel with the view of like doing this for a competition again? Because like, does that now mean like, oh, I was close to podium, and actually,
Yeah.
like, I'm inspired now to go do it again, or are you disheartened that you didn't make the top?
No, super inspired. And I think I was inspired the moment it even said finalist. And I think even talking to people who didn't get the finalist, still inspired. And I think it was really healthy to go in with that mindset of not expecting anything. Everyone does it. All the painters do it, except maybe if they've won like several Golden Demons, they're probably going to expect to win.
Yeah.
But it's like all the painters there all share the same thing and talk about it. And it's just like, yeah, I thought I'd just see how it does, because it's an excuse to get good eyes on your model. It's a good excuse to get some feedback. It's nice to see other stuff. And it's more importantly, it's that just pressure of a deadline of a competition to get something done and try really hard for something. And I think that's really valuable. So it's more valuable the fact I've done it than it is the place it got. The place it got, I love, and it's made me feel really confident about it. It's made me, like you say, I feel inspired to enter other competitions. I'm definitely going to do that. But
this is fascinating.
yeah, more importantly, sorry?
This is just fascinating. I've never considered this, because this is so. So I'm a very structured person who's probably got all sorts of things wrong with him, but like there's no numbers here. There's no tick boxes. There's no actual grading. Like you said, this is all on vibes. So it's
vibes.
That's the person who builds up corporate accountabilities in me makes me wildly nervous. Because for example, like the gold one is phenomenal, but you can definitely, like the non-metallic metal, I think is a really good example of what we're kind of saying. It's like this the non-metallic metal bit on the flamer, you can see where the paint goes. Like you can see the different gradients, but then you zoom out and it looks absolutely
and you
like,
can see it in the photo like that, but when you're holding it and you're just seeing, and this is what I mean. So I would look at these two photos and I would say dwarf would get gold, and I think in person I still probably would.
Yeah.
No offense to Wooly, I didn't meet him as well. Phenomenal job. He actually entered this one this is the store mini, the free store mini, and he just entered it and was just like, yeah, I didn't really know what to paint, so I just did a salamander.
I mean, it's phenomenal. Like the glow, it's incredible. Again, but that's what I mean. Like you've got these top 3, and I'm going to chuck yours in there as well. And there's like, each one of them has some really, really individual strong points. Like this is clean as, like
it's just crisp. That's what did it. There are no flaws. Like they look at this model and when the judges have no notes, that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the other models, they have notes. They could say well, we did notice this part, and
this is just like heavy metal plus this model.
Oh, it's way more than heavy metal.
Like no, but I mean box art style. Like it's just box art, but done in a showboaty way.
Yeah,
it's very, very, very cool. All the top ones were good. I mean, this is obviously yours edited up by ChatGPT to maximize its features. Look at that, see Ben? This is what you could have. This is what you could have entered. I was like,
That's
I was like,
hideous.
ChatGPT, edit this and make it look better, please. And that looks like a nightmare. Well, that was worth it. Right, winners gallery though. You had James Woolley, who won the gold with the salamander. You had Simon Jones, the Chorf man, and then Aaron Clark with pink and gold, which is pretty cool. And the choice of colours, all of you have used a really cool contrasting of colours. Which
I think that's quite a big thing.
if you look at like yours, where you've even chucked the yellow in there as well to add a break. So you've got the red, the red in the middle, with you've got the green grass and green skin, and you've used red as your spot color, and you've got that yellow.
Because he was carrying like red and yellow cards and stuff, and I thought it was appropriate as well. There's a little bit of a narrative there. It was,
I like the splash of blue on the pitch as well, just to kind of chuck it out. Like, so much composition has got to go into this stuff. Like, it's phenomenal. Is there anything there that you would do differently next time, or anything they gave you in the form of notes that you kind of thought, okay?
Yeah, so the notes that they did give was like on the rope, push the highlights more, on the stripes, push the highlights more, which is funny because Warhammer, the advice he gave going into it was push the highlights more.
Yeah.
And we didn't.
And that is what you tell me every time I airbrush things as well. You're like, lighter, more power. And I'm like, no.
There was a bit like underneath.
It's not going to be brown anymore.
So, like underneath the tree stump, if you looked at it from the bottom, you could detect bits where the paint hadn't gone into because it was just a cork bark. So if there was some bits like when you look at it from a real angle with the light on it and magnification, you can see some wood coming through. So that was another bit which they noticed at the last second, where they said they shouldn't have told me because it was heartbreaking, but they said it was on bronze, and then they noticed that about a minute before the announcements were made.
They were like, oh no, it's unfinished.
Yeah, basically.
Brutal.
So we got to dock it. Yeah. So yeah.
That's not a terrible thing to lose it out on though, given like your run up to it. I don't want to say the lack of planning for it, but you were like, no, I'm going to do this and I'll use that. Like when I watch Ninjon and the Hipster Boy, like they always have like a really long lead up to like, I'm going to paint this. How would I take this and make this? And I guess what I'm trying to say is that they always go in painting a model, painting it to place, to like painting it with the view of the judges. Whereas like the first time doing it, surely you're just painting it and be like, I'm going to paint this as good as I can paint it. And now you kind of got that extra element of like, okay, next time I do something like this, I know how to paint. Now, how do I present? Which is which is really, really, really interesting. And are you going to try and enter something again?
Yeah, I definitely will. I won't enter this model again. I think each time I enter, I'm going to do something different. But yeah, I will definitely enter. I do want to enter the Blood Bowl Green Golden Demon. I think that'd be fun.
Yes.
It's just often abroad. That's the trouble.
That's all right. Which one do you want to go to?
Yeah.
Germany next year? When's Essen?
Yeah, Essen would be cool. I would like to do that.
Let's do that.
I'll make that a goal for next year.
When is Essen? I'd love to go to Essen. When is Essen 2026? April next year. Cool. No, that's not. Fun. No, it's not.
Okay. Make sure it's not my anniversary.
I was gonna say that's the eWorld Energy and Water event, which is not.
Oh, okay, it's Spiel is the convention.
Yeah. Spiel. When is Spiel 2026? Because that would be very cool. Although, what's the other one? Is it Adepticon?
Yeah, that's America though, isn't it? So.
Spiel is October.
Oh, okay.
Even more time, Ben. Oh, cool. All right, we've got Spiel coming up this year.
Yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, I don't know much more there is to say. It's definitely a different experience to like a Blood Bowl tournament. I quite like it because you get a lot of opportunity to talk to people. And even when I was working there, I was still talking to a lot of people because I was like managing a stand for a lot of it, and then I was on a welcome desk, and you get a good opportunity to chat. And I think it's really insightful to talk about. You know, it's encouraging. It's a very positive environment, a very uplifting environment of everyone wanting to do well, wanting to know what you did, like how was it, how did it go. Really nice. It was very, very laid back, that's for sure.
That's so cool, man. You must be very proud of actually giving it a go and doing really, really well on the first take. That is
can't really complain.
All right, explain to me one thing though. This best in show, is this their version of like the Slayer sword?
Yes, this is the Slayer sword equivalent. Yeah.
Okay.
This
that what
Nicholas
this
Rubens
little?
Mortensen.
Is that what the little black trophy is?
Yeah.
Then? Ah, okay.
It's the Iron Skull.
I thought that was just like, oh, it's iron. Okay, fine.
Yeah. It looks more like it's like a sooty,
it's like an
transparent
obsidian skull.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Do you know what? This isn't bad.
Yeah, this is unreal. This was it was this and the Skaven, which got, I think, second place in this category in the fantasy single. The Skaven Warlord. These two, it was like, you look at them, you're like, okay, well, what?
Oh, the Skaven Warlord is crazy.
Yeah, they are unreal. Just unreal. Yeah. Like, you can't. It just doesn't. You can't have words for it. And
all of it, like literally everything on here is incredible. The only thing I will say is that the bronze place bit is a bit. I mean, it's a bit controversial in that they've got Beastmen fighting against Stormcast, and everyone knows that Beastmen they don't exist in the Age of Sigmar anymore. So that's oof, that's just
that's a good ban for Golden Demon because it's lore inaccurate.
I was going to say ban. There you go.
Yeah.
3D printed doesn't matter. You've got Stormcast in there, and you can't have Stormcast. Might as well put it in the Blood Bowl entry. Jeez. But no, look, that's
interesting talking to some people as well who have been to Golden Demon, because I think there's a bit of disillusion with it lately, with how it's approached, and that's why I think you get a lot of these other ones popping up and kind of almost being taken more seriously in some regard, because Golden Demon's a very corporate event now, and it's often run like, I think sometimes they had judges and things like that, and some things don't get a fair shake, and often you're trying to appeal to GW as a brand than you are as yourself as a painter.
Yeah, which is interesting, because that also brings about its own angle of legitimacy for winning it. Like, it's like, I've won Golden Demon, but it's kind of like making a sacrifice to a specific god. It's like, I conquered this terrain for Khorne. And you're like, okay, cool. Where the rest of us are Chaos Undivided. Like, you've just gone full Games Workshop. I'm going to Games Workshop this massively. But the last Golden Demon thing was that ugly pig thing that won. And I was like, while it is very good, it was sculpted entirely by the person. Like, it's just this non-Games Workshop model. It's basically IP theft for a couple of the last entries. And I was like, I am confused. It's like,
yeah, that's why I think there's just a bit of weirdness with like the rules and how it's managed. So I don't know if they're going to arrange it and sort it out. But I feel like it's the one, right?
A Golden Demon
name
should be to paint Warhammer models.
Yes.
Like, as well as you can, and do cool stuff.
Yeah.
Because as soon as people who are making copies of Warhammer models start winning it, then why the hell are we not having like Star Wars in it? Anyway, that is a complete side topic.
Yeah. I think the more of it came from just like the fact that it's not taken that seriously by GW. So it's like with like this issue with like the judges and how it's managed, and it's more about like they're putting on the event because they have to rather than they want to. And I think that's why you're getting a lot of these things coming up.
Talk to your Siege Studio stuff and boys, and let them know if they want coverage next year. Then I'm sure we can sort something out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be quite cool. That would be quite cool. But no, Ben, thank you so much for talking us through it. We were well excited for you to do it. It was cool to see the stuff come up, and it's fun to watch you flex a little, because I know that, like, you know, with your skill, because you kind of said, like, unless you push yourself, the only thing you'll ever get better at doing is start the same thing faster.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of like, you know, somebody who builds walls, are they still a sculptor as well? I think it's really, really cool to see. And just phenomenally baffles me massively, because I'm like, yes, but how do I do something good as quickly as possible? When you're like, okay, how do I do something great? Well, it's you, so obviously also as quickly as possible.
It's true.
It's like, is that next weekend? Oh no, all right, I better paint something then, and then get a finalist pin, which is wicked. But no, well done, man. That is really, really, really impressive. Some of those other entries are phenomenal. Yeah, it's really cool to see. Anyway, I think we'll wrap up with that. Like we said at the beginning of the episode, if you want us to go more on the unfounded rumors and stuff, please let us know, because I mean, there's some good. I talk about UFOs because my mum, bless her, has developed a liking for UFO conspiracy stuff. And I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm finally bonding with you. And there was a cool video that came out yesterday of this little disc coming out of the clouds as caught by a US drone, and it looks creepy. And I'm like, ooh. But yeah, so unestablished rumours are really kind of interesting to me. But yeah, Ben, thank you very much for talking about some hobby stuff today.
No, thank you for having me on.
All right, I'm going to go share that video in the Bonehead chat, and we will catch you guys later. Thanks very much for joining. We'll be back soon with more of the content. Happy blocking.